Hey everyone, this is Iconoclasts any %. This run is pretty sweet, it's pretty technical too. At the start of it, we're going to be doing the main movement tech used in the run. It's called back boosting. You shoot a charge shot behind you, and you maintain the speed boost as long as you keep running in that direction. At the start of the run too, there's a lot of small tech things, like that's a kill boost right there. It lets you double jump in midair after you kill something. You have to jump on the same frame you kill it though. We just did another one there. Kinda interesting. All we really have right now is our basic gun, the stun gun. And this is the first boss. We're just gonna do as much damage as we can in the first phase, and then finish him off in the second one. Pretty simple. We want to finish the fight as far to the right as possible, because that's where we exit after the fight's over. Main storyline in this game going on. Your name is Robin. There's this blonde-haired girl. She's adorable, and you're a mechanic. And in this world, you are assigned your role. And mechanics, she's not told to be a mechanic, so her being one is really taboo, and she'll basically be killed if they find out. So we're gonna head back to town, and there's gonna be some people waiting there for us. You can see their van outside our house, and they're called agents. They're with One Concern, who is a group that enforces all this stuff, and they don't know about our secret wrench down here, so we're gonna go grab our wrench and just avoid them if we can. And this is Block Rock, this town. This is like the most technical part of the segment, or part of the run, probably. With a lot of really small things you can do. And small puzzles everywhere, but it adds up pretty quick, depending on how fast you do it. Right there is a ledge jump, and wall jumps in this game you have almost no control after you do a wall jump, but if you shoot right after you do one, you get control of your momentum very quickly, and it's something we try to take advantage of in the run, but it's extremely difficult to do because of the inputs you have to do. To grab a ledge, you have to be holding one direction, and to wall jump immediately, you have to press the other direction, so it can be a little awkward. That right there is a ground boost, and that's done by doing that air stomp that we can do, and that we just did there. If you do that into an angled surface, you can maintain, that's like the biggest boost you can get while you're running, and you can maintain that for a while in a lot of spots. Right here we do another kill boost, we get up here, and we're almost done with Block Rock now. We damage boost through this gear, and we have a really tough trick coming up. It is a 2-frame trick. You have 2 different frames that you can wall jump off of the ledge for this puzzle. And we pause buffer it, we can get it. That was a really good attempt right there. And that probably saves like 10 seconds not having to do the puzzle normally. And here we get a ground boost off that slope. And we are out of the Block Rock section. We go over, talk to Helena. And this is like a cute little suburb, pretty much. And we do go in here, and we just have to touch the ground up here, and that will cause the second part of this cutscene where this kid walks in. And we need him to give us an upgraded wrench. We talk to the chemical dude, and he unlocks crafting, and you craft your upgrades in this game. You find all the materials pretty much as you're going through, and the schematics for stuff, and you can craft upgrades for your character. The only upgrades we're actually going to be crafting in this category are Breathless. And Breathless, you craft 2 of them, and it increases your air supply while you're swimming. It's the only thing we need. And you will see why later on. But there are a lot of useful tweaks in the game. There's a dodge roll, which is an invincible roll. That's always useful. And You can use it to sequence break a lot of things in the game as well, since you can get through small gaps that you normally can't. But here, we go up as fast as we can, and we have to sneak through this bar area without them noticing us. And the only way to do that is to listen to their terrible jokes and then walk while they're laughing. You can actually shoot your gun while you're up here and they won't hear it. The only thing they hear is when you walk forward. New Game Plus gets to skip through this whole room with dodge roll because they don't hear you while you're rolling on the ground, only while you're crawling. It's pretty interesting. Coming up is Kerthunk skip. Kerthunk being his boss right here. That big robot. But we are not going to fight him, as you can imagine by the name of the trick I just said. We use this small cutscene to give us infinite wrench glitch. We're actually spinning our wrench infinitely right now, you can't really see it. But it lets us just moonwalk right out of this cutscene and into the next area. What normally happens is you beat the boss and then you escape via like water scooter or something, and you mess up driving it and this pirate finds you and then he just throws you overboard afterwards. I'm not really sure why he helps you out and then does that, but now we're in desert, and our main objective in the desert is to get the explosive gun. Or the stun, not the stun gun, that's the starting gun. But concussion rounds, that's what it is. And it's essentially a grenade. And we need that to unlock a lot of different things in the game. Here we damage boost through the thorns, grab this key, quick crawl through that gap, and quick crawling is when you jump the same frame you enter a crawl gap. You can get a huge amount of speed through it. A nice little boost here. And the fastest way to go through here is to take damage, turn around, and go through them, but it can be kind of hard to do at times. We have to unlock 3 different little wrench knobs to be able to get to this key up here. And other than that, there's not much going on aside from small movement. There's some cool little things you can do, but coming up, some of my favorite strats in this room. You can slam and jump off that box right there if you're really good, and go right up to this chest. But we are picking up this chest for crafting our tweaks later on. We're going to need 2 Improvium and 2 Metallium for what we need to make. And now we have super tough mini game where you need to match up the boxes that the guy brings out 10 times before he will give you your mighty grenade. And here I'm practicing my blindfold incentive. As it would be a perfect incentive for GDQ. Then I don't trust myself and stop practicing it. Alright, and then we're going to fail one of them on purpose. If you match circle and triangle, or mismatch them, then you have to restart the whole minigame. But if we mess it up once, then the minigame ends and we get to skip like 4 dialogue boxes by messing one of them up. Otherwise, he praises you for being perfect at it and keeps talking a bunch. We don't want that. And now we're gonna head to the desert boss. He is just a big old robot. Yeah, it's a really tough shot to make, to get the first grenade over here to destroy these rocks right away. But there's some cool movement stuff we can do in these next couple of rooms to make the puzzle kind of fast. We're gonna crank this once, try and get a quick crawl in here, which we do. And that means we get to go up here, and normally you have to use 2 charge shots and wait for the cooldown and stuff. Saves a good 5 seconds. So, here's the robot. You see the targeting thing under his head, his legs. Essentially, Royal here, who's this guy in white, is helping us fight the boss. We haven't met Royal yet. We'll learn more about him later. But we push him back into the targeting thing, knocks him up, and then we shoot a grenade into his butt. And it hurts the robot. We have to do this 3 times. And once we do, we can actually kill the boss. A lot of the bosses in the game are like this. It's kind of like more of a puzzle than anything. We shoot 1 missile at him, and then we move towards him, and it ends up doing a ton of damage because it's hitting both of his arms, and he's dead. 2 cycles standard. I'm not sure I've ever seen a 1 cycle. It would be nice to find if it existed. Now we're gonna get out of desert. We got what we came here for. And Royal is part of One Concern, but he's like a noble. Essentially, he's the daughter of the leader of One Concern. And the leader of One Concern is Mother. And oh yeah, he's not the daughter. He would be the son of Mother, not the daughter. Sorry. And there's Royal. He's leading us to the One Concern camp, kind of oblivious that he's even doing anything bad. He always means well, but is really dumb and naive. So now we're on the One Concern train after we get captured, but kind of breaking out, and we have to fight Tolo and Chrome. Chrome was up in this big helicopter. He's an agent, just like the other 2 people that were at our house earlier. Agents Black and White, and he's Chrome. Chrome is like a weird cowboy with his own ideals. He's a cool character though. And this fight, like a lot of them, is kind of scripted and you can't really do it fast. You just have to hit a grenade into the helicopter 3 times and move on to the next phase. You want to kill him as far to the left as possible. That's a very small time save, hitting Troll up like that and glitching him out. And now the second phase of the helicopter. Just like how all helicopters normally work, we're going to crouch on the ground and shoot it. Well, it spins its blades into us and crawls towards us with its arms. And this fight is pretty straightforward. Don't get hit by these grenades and they're good. On harder difficulties, you definitely cannot do that fight like that because you take a lot more damage. And now we are asleep and kind of having like a vision flashback type thing with our dad. He tells us we sleep a lot and to hang out with our brother more and like what we're trying to do with our life. We should be a farmer and not a mechanic like he was. And it's like, come on, Dad. You know I'm not going to do that. And we end up getting rescued by Royal and Mina, the chick we met earlier. Now we're in Mina's like home base, and Mina basically lives with a bunch of like rebels in this lab that's underwater. That one concern doesn't know where they're at. They're definitely enemies and stuff. So Royal being here is really bad for them, and Royal shouldn't be here, but there was really nothing they could do at the time. They needed all the help they could get, etc. And now Royal knows where it is. And Royal's not like a bad person, but he's very misguided. So bad stuff ends up happening in the town because of it. But we go underwater here, and this is where the run gets kind of crazy. We're going to craft a couple tweaks, a couple air tweaks, and equip them, and those are the only tweaks we're going to have on for the whole run. And all we do is increase our air supply because we're going to be swimming a lot with a glitch called air swim. But here's the first example of one where we end up clipping out of bounds while swimming. And we're going to go through here. We skip a whole bunch of puzzling and stuff by doing this. We grab this key, and we get out of here. We just skipped like 4 or 5 rooms or something that would require you grabbing the key and a couple different puzzles. And now we're going to go do this area normally. Originally, in our route, we used to actually swim through the entire area out of bounds, pretty much, and collect all these keys by coming back inbounds, refilling our breath in tricky ways, and it's pretty cool. Wow. Those fish are awkward and scary, and I don't like the sound they make. We unlock this, and in this area, our goal is to find all 3 Trinities. And once you find all 3, you unlock what is basically the last boss of this area. And it's like the whole area is like a big machine, and we're trying to get the key to it, or the 3 keys to it. This puzzle can be a little awkward to do it fast. So we grab this key and we get the first Trinity. And now that we've done this one first, right here is a little shortcut that we just unlocked, that little door we cranked before. And that will let us get the next 2 keys a lot quicker. You can have the trees help you explode these platforms up. It can be tough though. They're kind of a pain sometimes. Alright, we get out of here. And we're right back here. And now we gotta go down with this 1 key that we just got. We're like net positive 1 key for the area. a tiny little sequence break here. You just don't need to get the second block there. If you aim your grenade correctly. The outside corners of the hitbox are bigger, so it does that puzzle a little quicker. The little scooting sound you're hearing, when you press jump in the water, it propels you forward very slightly. So you have to kind of spam that while you're swimming. Break the rocks, grab the key. Gotta wait for our mist to cool down again. And get out of here. Now we have one more Trinity to grab. This one's tucked away pretty far. Alrighty, once we get this last Trinity here, we're just gonna leave this area. Now we have some RNG coming up. There are these arena fights with these little flying robots right here. It's one of them, and then two of them. And you can get the kill on the first one pretty easily. But then it's RNG where which green thing they fly into and how long it takes for them to do it. So sometimes you can get a one cycle where you kill them right as they spawn, and then other times you have to wait for them to go into those green tanks, which you have to wait for one attack. They walk forward slowly, stop, do an attack, and then they do a second one, which then you like flush the guy out of it and then kill it. And it wastes probably 10 seconds or something if you don't get the one cycle. And then coming up here, we have the same thing, but it's a bit harder because the room is huge, and it spawns two at once each time. So here, you can see how slow the cycle is if you mess it up. We almost get it there, but he flies into the green guy right beforehand, fortunately. And if you mistime that grenade, then it wastes a bunch of time. And now we're going to head to the boss. After this kind of long puzzle room that we're going to damage boost through a bunch. You can see I'm not very good at damage boosting. You don't carry a lot of momentum when you're moving forward, so to actually damage boost like in Super Metroid, you have to turn around kind of precisely. Right before you get hit, you have to hit the back button. And here is Inti. This boss is far more a puzzle than an actual boss, but it's still a fun one, regardless. So you go over here, you hit that to power it up, and then you have to crank it 5 times with Robin. And then hit this switch in the top left. You switch to Mina, you shoot him once, and then you power it up again. Go over here, you crank it up again, and then you shoot a grenade. Just switch this platform over, so Mina can go to the top right. With that, switch back, shoot that with a grenade, and now I can actually kill the boss. Figuring this boss out casually took me so long. It's like, it's very confusing when you first do it to actually figure out what you need to do. Try not to die here, dude. These little dudes. Just kill them for safety. And there's the boss. Now we have another boss sequence coming up with Agent White. He's not a very nice guy. Agent White and Agent Black are here, but we don't fight Agent Black yet. Shoot a missile to do the puzzle right there. Okay, and there he is. He has his special powers. He can shoot ice, and he has heat or ice goggles, basically. And right now he is ice goggling us, as you can clearly see. And right here he's going to slap Mina and give us the heat goggles. This isn't too hard to avoid, and naturally I get hit as I say that. We just jump right in here. And fun fact, he's shooting bullets into the water, but they never ever hit you. They cannot, they don't have a hitbox. He's just messing with you. They're bubbles, I don't know. And this is another fight where we can just tank and shoot as much as we want. Just tanking and holding down is better than really anything else you can do here. And we get him to half and he heals up. And then Mina actually punches a seed into him. And this is where we learn that the ivory seeds that Mina's people, they have ivory seeds, and they didn't really know the power of them until now, where it counteracts the ivory that they have in their blood, which is a story point I haven't really touched on, but the agents are like powered up by ivory, and ivory is like this resource that's very scarce now, that's been mined out of the planet, and basically it gives people like superpowers and is used for like everything. It's like really valuable, so being able to defeat an agent at all is like unprecedented, essentially, and we just killed one. So we're gonna leave the labs. We've done here what we came to do, and as we do that, we're gonna go back up to the town, the Izzy town, and there are going to be soldiers here. One concerned soldiers, because Royal led them here, obviously. After saying he was a cool dude, he kind of dropped the ball on this one. So we got to kill all the guards in the town. You can see the counter in the bottom left. And this doesn't take too long, but we're going to shoot a missile here, kill one of them off screen, and then kind of trying to lure this guy out. If he doesn't come out, we just go back in and then kill the other guy that's off screen. And we have to wait for him to walk out, no matter what. So that just kind of saves a second or two. Okay. And we have a couple rooms left. Go in here, missile that guy. Can't missile the ones with shields. They will block it every time. And the other methods of killing the guys with guns just take way too long. Missiles are definitely the best choice. And these dudes that are sitting under the areas can give you really bad RNG and waste up to 10 seconds if they just keep throwing grenades. Now that we've cleared out the town, they reward us with the electric wrench, which is sweet. We need the electric wrench to end the game, And we could end the game sooner, but we need it for the final boss fight because of a couple phases that it's just required for. So we go here, we see Agent Black holding Samba, and Samba is Mina's sister. This is Mina, our current BFF that we just met. And Agent Black is like, haha, I got her. So we need to go talk to Mina, tell her we'll help her out, all that jazz, you know. And we will, but in our own way. We tell her we won't even follow her, just because that's less dialogue. But now, what we need to do is go up here and we need to travel about a bunch of screens to the left, essentially, until we get to Block Rock and we see that it's raining. Once that happens, we can proceed with pretty much the biggest glitch in the run. Right now we're traveling back through the desert, so it might look familiar. But we're not going to be doing anything other than just traveling as efficiently to the left as we can for the next few minutes. Okay, so we had to hit that cutscene because it spawns a specific NPC in that town. And we need that NPC to do part of this trick right here. And this is called an air swim, and it's specifically the desert air swim. And what we were trying to do is, or what we did was misalign ourselves in the water by standing on a specific block in the water. And now we're going to try and zip, which is really tough to do. We just did it finally, by pressing certain inputs while we transition screens. And now we are swimming in midair, and this means a few different things, but mainly the misalignment before the air swim is very important because it allows us to actually go out of bounds vertically on any screen, essentially. And we'll be doing that coming up. And it allows us to just swim into impact, which is an area which is the end of the game, essentially. And it's actually hidden under the first town. So here we are swimming out. We went under because we're misaligned. It moves all the terrain up a little bit, which means we can swim under it while we're on the screen. And you see that it's raining in Block Rock now. This is the first town that we were in before. And now this NPC is here, and when you initiate dialogue with an NPC, it refills your breath. And this is why we crafted 2 breathless tweaks way beforehand for this one swim right here. And coming up is like the hardest trick in the game. Well, this is the start of the hardest trick. It's all one trick, I guess, but the hardest part of it. We need to get over to a ladder 2 screens away, come back, refresh our breath on this sign right here, and slide as far as we can. The further you slide, the more cushion you get on where you need to swim to, because you don't your breath doesn't tick down until you get out of the dialogue. So like every bit of distance helps and matters a lot for this this trick coming up. So what we're doing, we jump off this ladder right here, and we had something called grounded, like the grounded flag. The game thought we were on the ground before because we had gone down a ladder and gotten off of it. But since we just jumped off of it, we lose grounded right there, and it kind of remembers that coordinate on the map, and that's important for zips, specifically for zips that are coming up. And there we get a good slide, and we're going to refill our breath on the save point coming up, because we need all of the breath and health that we can get. So we are swimming here, and now we have to go down and under the terrain. Perfect. And then when we go right here, it zips us to the bottom of the screen, strangely enough. And then we have to immediately start swimming left. Now, below the next screen is impact, the entrance to it. See, we're already starting to lose life. We gotta avoid the smog, and then when we transition, it refills our breath bar. And now we have one more zip to go. This is impact zip, and this is just like the thing we did with the air swim, where we need to transition holding up and left, and then press right at a really precise time. And we're kind of like caught between transitions because we stop our momentum, and it ends up zipping us to the wrong spot in the room. And then as soon as we get the zip, we hit the cutscene for this gauntlet right here, which refills our breath. We go over here and we can swim straight down. We skip multiple gauntlet rooms by doing this. I believe it's like 4 different rooms. And now we align ourselves, and then we swim into the last boss fight. We're in there, and now we just need to die and reload at the checkpoint of the boss fight. So we're not swimming anymore, we can actually complete it. And we did it. So this boss fight is like a nightmare in your head, and it's a really cool design fight. And this guy signifies Elro, who's your brother. And depending on the choices you've made in the game, he will be more aggressive or less aggressive in this phase of the fight. It's based on his affinity with you. And this next phase is based on Mina's affinity with you. And we just got something called Infinite Wrench Glitch. And you get that by buffering the wrench input during the phase transition, where the screen's all black. It's just like Kerthunk Skip earlier on in the run, and we're swinging our wrench infinitely. It's very useful for these 2 phases right here. And here we just got it again. And normally you'd have to redo it over and over. But we got that one sunflower up super quick. But this is what it's like when you don't have the glitch. It's much slower. This phase is based on Royal's affinity with you. If you did a bunch of stuff that he doesn't like, then he attacks a lot more. There's way more stuff on the screen. But no, that's Nightmare over, basically. We have to kill this one last thing. And we do. And now the actual final boss fight is coming up. We gotta talk to Dad a little bit first. And Dad talks about a bunch of stuff that we don't care about, really. Our past, some lore, whatever. And then you get the choice to either walk to your dad or go to the door. I personally always go to the door, but it does affect the boss fight coming up in a kind of minor way, but I will explain that when we get to it. We're now fighting this giant worm thing we've seen nothing about because we skipped to the end of the game. And we're going to shoot him a whole bunch. This boss fight is really, really fun. but it hurts my hand because you cannot hold the shoot button. Each of those gunshots is a different button press. You normally have another gun by the time you get here, but there we got really good wrenches on his hand there. As soon as we wrenched it, we instantly got back on. Like 3 of them will break his hand off to make him vulnerable again. And now the actual final boss fight is here. This giant worm thing wasn't the antagonist all game. No, no, no. You were close, but it was actually this big bird. Yeah, I don't know. This is the biggest twist at the end of almost any game I've ever played, where it just made absolutely no sense. I just didn't get it. So here, if you walk away from your dad, he summons these boulders right here that you can shoot off with your grenade. If you walk towards dad, he summons different types of boulders that you need to use your charge shot to get rid of. And it's just way harder to get rid of them with the charge shot. So why would you walk to your dad? Alright, final boss almost down. We got him. He's not very happy. Just trying to get his robot to comply. And no. Goodbye. Time will be coming up when I punch this thing in the face. But we walk over, and essentially we've saved the world right now. We remember the seeds that Mina has. That's time. And we punch the seeds right into him. This dude's like made of ivory. So, it doesn't treat him well. This run was record at the time. I forgot to have my timer on screen, but it's RTA, it doesn't matter. We're good. We're good. But the world becomes a lot greener now that it's not sucked dry by these evil people stealing all the ivory out of everything. Alright, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the run. We're gonna watch this deer get to the top of this mountain, because I believe he can do it. Let's go. Yay. That's Iconoclasts.